What's the business? Your boy Savage, aka Sevlo. You tuning in to Evloccshoodtales. Like, comment, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell. Let's get to the politic. Big shout out to everybody showing the channel love. Before I start this video, I want to make it clear I am no way form promoting the gang life to anybody. I'm just making a testimony and putting it out there to be, a person that gives information and maybe open the eyes to some youngsters that may be going down that road. And that's kind of what the situation is. So this video comes from the comment section from my other channel, and it was in the comment section from Mike Lucero, and he was asking how racial is the system out here when it comes to prison. Are they on the racial tensions? Do they be tripping off the race thing? So I've done this video before, but I'm going to do it on this channel. So every city, state has its own program, has its own way it does in the system. More of the West Coast, you're always going to have the racial aspect, meaning you ride with your race, you ride with, your skin. Colorado is in the mix, but it's not all the way to a 10 when it comes to the racial aspect. California, Arizona, Las Vegas, anything west, you're going to have the racial aspect 100%. When you go east, you go to the Midwest, you go to Florida, you go to New York and all that. And I think New York's a little different. I think they have racial tensions in there too because of the Latin Kings. But even with that, it's more about your organization. I've talked to people from Chicago and, some Latin disciples, Spanish disciples. They ride with the GDs and they're under that whole, car of, gangster disciples and disciples, and then you have Land Kings and they don't get along and they get along with vice lords and so on and so on. When you get to Florida, it's not really racial tensions at all. Virginia, North Carolina, and the penitentiaries, I don't really know too much about them, but I know they're not pushing the racial tensions and the race aspect. So Colorado, man, and everybody always asks this because, they know that, I grew up and I banged Crip my whole life. So, people automatically, because I'm Spanish, I'm Mexican, I got Mexican, roots from Mexico and got Spaniard and Spanish. They say, how did you survive if penitentiary is so racial? So when you get to Colorado, you get to certain compounds, you're going to have certain people that always focus in on the race because we're more of the West Coast. We got, West Coast politics, gangbanging wise, Bloods, Crips, Sureños, sometimes Norteños, Northside fools. You're going to have fools that are all about their race. But majority of the yards in Colorado, the system, it's more about the neighborhood, the gang you're from, more about the organization. Out here, you have different neighborhoods that were influenced by certain politics. My neighborhood, any East Side fool, you know what I'm saying? From the projects, and anybody from the East Side grew up around, they're going to know African Americans. So, you grow up in your environment, when I hit the yard, bro, I was not an automatic target for fools just coming at me. I did 7 years on the yard. I'm still here. I survived it all. And, like I said, when you get the yard, you have handfuls of Spanish and Mexican Crips. You got handfuls of Spanish and Mexican bloods, Chicano bloods. And most of the time, you're going to have more Chicano and Mexican bloods than, Mexican and Chicano Crips. Now, when I say sometimes it's every compound is different and they got a different program, you'll go to a yard and it will be the Chicano and Mexican bloods that do their own thing. They don't really tie in with the Black Bloods. But then you go to a yard, the next yard, you might have the Chicano and Mexican Bloods link up with the Black Bloods, and they're under one rag. I seen it even with the Crips. A lot of yards, Crippin' is separated because of the simple fact you got East Side Denver Crips, you got West Side Crips, Cali Crips, Southern Crips, and sometimes they don't even usually mess with each other. But there's yards like a yard I was on, everybody was under one rag. And it was more about the gang. It was more about what organization you're from. It was really didn't have to do with any racial aspect. I did 7 years, and not once did I see a full-fledged race riot out here in the Colorado system. I never seen all the blacks go to war with all the white boys and everybody had to get involved. I never seen all the Mexicans have to go to war with all the blacks and everybody from them ethnic groups fell in line and went to war. What I seen was the Sureños get into it with maybe the GKIs, or the Sureños get into it with the Bloods. The only time I ever even seen like the Sureños and Paisas come together was when all the Bloods came together and the Sureños backed up the Paisas. So it's all about your car. It really don't have nothing to do with about the racial aspect. But since we are more West, you're always going to have them individuals that focus in on that. And I've been on a yard where, a certain car didn't like the aspect, but I didn't get hit over it. It turned into later down the road, some head sessions, face sessions. But, like I said, for most part, it was all about your car, all about the gang you're from, and that's how it operates out here in Colorado. It's not always about the racial aspect, out here you'll have, if you're, a Crip, your Sally might be the black Crip homie. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying is, out here, you can get ways around. You might have a Sally with the black homie, or you know what I'm saying? Like, I seen it many different times. Even out here, bro, I seen black Sureños on the yard, and they ride with the Sureño car because they're with the Sureños. So hopefully I answered your question. Mile high salute to you. Another question that came from the comment section. I believe it was lizard teeth or something like that. I'm pretty sure, man. If I got the name wrong, sorry, I apologize. It was about the summer of violences, and you asked me to do this, and I actually did this video on the other channel too. So the summer of violences out here in Denver, Colorado, it was a time frame in '93 where it was very violent for gang activity. A lot of people were getting killed. It was a time when, color banging was at an all-time high. Fools were getting shipped off in every part of Denver, every part of Aurora. And fools were really, really out here activated. I think it was probably one of the most bloodiest time frames in the summer. I think over like 120 fools got killed behind gang violence, and that's not even all the murders from that year, but gang violence, there was like 120 fools that got killed off of Bloods, Crips, G's, Incas. Like the summer of violence, it was turned up with gang banging. I remember being in the East Side in '93, and they actually made us come in the house at like 6 o'clock. That was like an order from the city, like don't have your kids out, because everybody used to come out at night. A lot of drive-bys, a lot of innocent people getting killed, kids getting killed. Summer of Violence was one of the main reasons why they made youth offender system out here, YOS, because it was just all kinds of youngsters, killing each other off, man. And it was a time frame where you really had to, be on your toes. They didn't even, in my neighborhood, bro, they wouldn't even deliver pizza in the Summer of Violences past like 6 o'clock to the East Side, because fools were robbing them fools. The 5 Points at that time was a place you did not go to if you were not from over there. They did not like outsiders, and you had to be from the neighborhood. Another thing is too, man, back in the day, it was called 5 Points, that whole neighborhood. Now they changed up the neighborhood and they call it Rhino District, and they try to regenification the whole neighborhood, moved everybody out of that neighborhood. And they did that all over the Denver metro, bro. But now they call Rhino District, but people still know it as the 5 points. And it's crazy because when somebody gets killed over there or something bad happens, it's called 5 points. When it's all about the good and it's all about, new development, all that, it's called Rhino District. So it's crazy how, they separate that. Yeah, there's a lot of people, if you're from Denver and, you're born bred in Denver, you're going to know somebody that died in the summer of violences. The summer of violence. I say summer of violences because, it was like the 90s, the early 90s was treacherous out here. A lot of people dying. Um, Also, the starter jackets. I remember the starter jackets at the time, bro. That would get you, that could get you killed with them starter jackets. Those sports starter jackets. Fools got killed over Bronco jackets. Fools wanted their Bronco jacket and they want to come off of it and they get killed. A lot of innocent bullets going in houses that didn't even have nothing to do, and an innocent person would die. You could go read about the summer of violences, man. Just put it in your Google search in Denver, man, and it was pretty bloody, bro. It was a time frame where, the Crips and Bloods came out here, bro. And at that time, that's when fools seen the rise of gang violence and it was just wide open. So that's the video for today. Mile high salute to everybody out there. You know what it is, your boy Savage. Y'all have a blessed day. Let's go.